All right, recording started. This is November 17, 2017, Friday before code freeze. This is the implementation of Kubernetes CSI meeting. And we'll jump into the agenda doc and do a quick status update, and then folks can talk about whatever is blocking them. So orange task, kubectl changes for volume attachment API object. I posted a link there. This is basically done. There's nothing special that needs to be done here. The existing API change was sufficient. Entry volume. So Vlad, you want to take over status update for your stuff?
Yeah, sure. So as I posted on the Slack channel, this particular PR has quite a bit of feedback. So this morning, because I was kind of getting worried, so I came up with a list of priorities based on all the feedback, and I posted it on Slack, and we can discuss, see what exactly is a P1. It's right here, and what we can live with and what we absolutely must have, because I still have a detacher to jump into, plus review of the detacher, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep. I think this list looks all. It's a sanitized driver name and volume handle. I don't think is that difficult. It's just calling one method.
Yeah.
If it makes it in, good. If it doesn't, no big deal. We can do follow up. Devise a solid solution for, yep, this definitely is beta. CSI support should probe. Yep, this is definitely beta as well. Should probe driver for expected capabilities. Yep, we can do that in beta. Implement probe for mount volume. Yep, that can wait too. CSI type to its own client package. That's perfectly okay to delay. Make private methods. Yep. And documentation. Yep. So yeah, I think this list looks solid to me.
Okay, and then what I'll do, those top two, I'll so let me get this straight. Today is code freeze?
Code freeze is technically this coming Wednesday, end of day.
Okay. Because if I have the next couple of days in Monday and Tuesday, I think I can wrap up all this.
Okay. There is a caveat. Caveat is that basically up till today, anything gets merged, no problems, no questions asked.
I see.
Starting on Monday and Tuesday, you need to have like special labels on the PR and approval from the SIG, which we shouldn't have any trouble getting. And then the other thing is, I asked them if if we have a PR that gets LGTM'd at 6 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesday evening, is that guaranteed to get in or not? And what they're saying is that maybe not. It depends on whether the tests are passing, kind of thing.
Right.
So if we could get it in sooner, that would be better, but that's kind of our hard deadline.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll keep heads down. This list kind of lessened my anxiety level as far as the Mounter PR. I think it's not a big deal. I've already started on some of the P1 stuff, some of the bigger stuff like vendoring, CSI, etc. A lot of the stuff on the P1 list is just making notes to-do notes to come back to some of the stuff we talked about.
Yep.
So it should be okay. The next couple of big items are because I haven't seen any activity on the attacher.
So I took a look at the attacher PR last night. It looked largely fine to me. I think I had some minor comments.
Okay.
And I was just waiting for the detacher to come in.
I think I had bigger comments. Not sure I sent them.
I had some comments on it too.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't looked today. So the next big thing will be the attacher detacher, and the even bigger thing will be to rebase all of this, because I made a bunch of changes in the mount stuff that needs to go in the attacher. So we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go through the reviews for the attacher, detacher, or the attacher.
Okay.
Come up
go
with
ahead and feel free to do the same kind of breakdown for if you want to put things off to beta that are non-critical for the attacher.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Okay.
Come up with a triage list just like this, so we can pick at it as soon as possible.
Okay. And if there's anything you want to break off and be like, somebody else can pick up this,
okay,
I'm here to help.
All right. Okay. Well, let me take a look at the attacher, detacher, see if there's anything major.
Cool.
I can hand off.
You know, one thing I wanted to mention that if you want to think about it this way, the attach and detach could be something for beta also. The mounting has to be done now, but not every system needs attach and detach, every driver.
Yeah, but it would be very nice to have because...
No, I agree. I'm just saying that if it comes down to it...
True. True.
Yeah, I think because the attacher wasn't that bad of a code to do, because I had already gone through the mount and put a lot of the basis in there, so the detacher should be pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
It's just the corner cases, verification, like you must call, you must probe the driver before you make X, Y, and Z call, etc. Those rules, they can come in later.
Mm-hmm. Jan, do you know what your big feedback on the attacher feedback on the attacher PR was? Is it worth discussing here?
Yeah, I sort of forgot that we are doing attaching plugin, and in that case, the mounter and unmounter is not used, and we use attach and detach instead. There is mount device and unmount device. So all the code that's used for mounting should be moved there.
Should be moved in the attacher?
Yeah.
No, actually, so there's when you implement a mounter, there's going to be a mount device call, and then you have the standard setup at call. The mount device equivalent is not implemented or doesn't exist in the CSI spec today. So mount device is going to be a no-op for us. And then the setup at the way that he has it is perfectly fine, because the node publish call should be called for every volume on every workload, basically.
Right. So there, if I remember correctly, there is a mount method on the attach detach API, right? Is that what you refer to?
So basically, when you implement the attacher interface in the in-tree volume plugin, in addition to the attach and wait for attach, there's a new method called mount device. The purpose of mount device is to be called once per node per volume to actually mount the device to some known location. And then what the setup at method is supposed to do is take that known location and bind mount it to the pod location. But the CSI spec doesn't have a capacity for mount device, anything equivalent to mount device. I opened an issue to try to get that in there, but I'm getting pushback, so we're not going to have it for alpha.
Okay.
So basically for us, mount device would be a no-op for this implementation. And then the setup at method, which you already have, which does the node publish, it should remain as is.
Okay.
Okay. I will update my comments then.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll still take a look at it. And then will we have time on Monday to go to do another round of reviews? Do you think we'll have time?
Absolutely. I think if we can do another round of reviews on Monday and then kind of have an LGTM by end of day Monday, that would be a very, very solid goal.
Okay, good.
Again,
that makes me feel much better.
If we have to push it all the way to end of day Wednesday, where we can do that too. But if we have to do that, hopefully we'll have like a couple of PRs, merged.
Yeah, I'm trying to, because I'd like to take, if it comes down to it, I'd like to take Wednesday off, but Yeah, so I'll be pushing to have a lot done over the weekend so we can have something, another round of review on Monday. And then have you heard from Tim about
Tim says he has a big backlog. He's going through it. I'm going to ping him again to make sure he remembers, but I think he's going to take a look at it and pretty much rubber stamp it. I don't anticipate any.
Awesome. That's all I have.
Okay, cool. So looks like Attacher is currently in progress. There's some minor feedback left for Mount Unmount. Otherwise, that looks good.
Just one quick thing on the PR there.
Yes.
I made a comment on version.
Okay. On the attach one?
The PR we just were talking about, the last one.
Okay.
And my question is, we don't need to discuss it here, but I do want to bring up that I don't think the CSI spec has defined what to do with versioning. Because there needs to be some kind of agreement between the clients. Should one of them fall back to an older version? So right now, I just think we just punt on that.
Right?
Are you talking about the spec version itself?
Yeah, like this is this handshake in between the client and the plugin.
So I think the way that it's currently implemented is that the client, the CO in this case, will call get supported versions and see what the supported versions are. If that matches the version that it's expecting to talk,
right,
happy. If it doesn't, it fails. But you're right, we can probably in the future like have support for multiple versions and then have a priority list of this is the version that we prefer and these are the other versions that we can support and fall back on.
That's it. That's what I wanted to bring up.
Okay, cool. That'll be good to do for the beta then.
Yeah, there's a lot. I'm gonna start a based on those triage lists that I come up with. I'm gonna start a document.
Okay, perfect. I have a similar document running, so we can merge ours and.
Okay. Yeah, of all what beta will look like.
Yeah. Okay, so this is in progress. Alpha, excuse me, AlphaGate for this stuff. Vlad, do you have any idea?
Yes. So AlphaGate, I did. I mistaken. That's why I lost my LGTM.
Okay. Oh, on that original.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I foolishly put it in there. Not even.
Oh, that's fine. That's actually perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and LGTM that.
No, I think you did.
Okay.
You did. It's the source persistent volume source PR.
Okay.
You LGTM'd it again. So I followed what was in that file, but I don't know if there's anything else I needed to do.
Okay. I'll take another look at that to make sure it looks okay. But if you follow that model, I think it should be fine.
Okay.
So let me put it to do. Cool. All right, so those are all the critical components. End-to-end tests. Luis, do you want to talk about this today? Let's just talk about it now.
Yeah, I had a conversation, a small one, with Erin yesterday, and she was able to send me the document that they use to be able to write end-to-end tests.
Okay.
So that's a good plan. But what I wanted to ask is that, here's the situation that we have right now with the content that we have today. What do we want to do about testing?
What I'd like to see is if we could have end-to-end tests against a mock driver, testing, for example, the mount path and the attach path. That would be awesome.
Okay.
And then we can add on top of that in the future.
Cool. So what does that mean? A mock driver, like a mocked interface, or a driver doesn't do anything, so say, I got this,
So what I would imagine is let's talk about a mock mounter, right?
Okay.
So a mock mounter, you would have to deploy a container or something, somehow deploy a mock mounter onto the node machine that the volume is going to be
got it.
scheduled to. Yeah. And then sorry, go ahead.
No. I'm trying to see understand what you're saying. So what you want is a CSI container.
Yep.
It doesn't do anything, but responds to a gRPC.
Yep.
How is it that so you cannot really mock the functions to expect failure. You can only expect success. You have to.
Yeah. I mean, you could get fancy and have it if it gets set up with this, then fail. If it gets set up with this, succeed, kind of thing. But at that point, we might as well just use a real.
Well, so I would just point out that there is such a beast out there. It is the mod driver that keeps coming up with a Go CSI stuff that.
Nice.
So if you want to use that, that's already available, and it's a fully functional driver. There's also the local file driver called the VFS driver, which actually does an actual mount.
So Luis, would you be willing to create 2 end-to-end tests using the mock Go CSI client that Vlad is talking about, and then basically build on top of the PRs that Vlad has, 1 test to test the mount path and 1 test to test the attach path?
Okay.
Hi, will it help if we can use a flex adapter with a simple NFS?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and I'll also have some driver with LVM based or something which can actually do the attach and detach path also. So
okay, yeah,
that should be very easy too.
Super fancy. Let's okay. So what I would like to see is that the mock driver, if we're going to start using it, that it gets pulled into something that is a community repository. That's what I like to see. Is that possible? Because
you can do that. Take a look at what the Dell EMC mock driver looks like.
Yeah.
Use that for inspiration, and then modify it as you see fit.
Okay.
And then that'll be good.
My concern is that we have to keep this up, right? We have to start using it. So we need to be, as a community, and we start placing it somewhere that we all invest in it.
I think that's okay. Vlad, does that sound okay to you guys?
Yeah, I can bring that up. See what the rest of the team think about where it's located. But it is, it can be vendored. So I'm not sure what the concern is. Is it?
It's not the vendoring. My concern. The concern is that it's not. This is very important to E2E testing, right? And we should be part of the framework, so it should be part of the community. That's what I'm trying to say. So any changes that will come out, we may need to, make changes. So
Luis, in the latest change I did for the Flex adapter, right? There is something like I put something like a library which has everything, all the APIs predefined in there. Take a look at it, and maybe you can see that whether you can beef it up, because it actually implements all the calls. All you need to take is the default calls. If you're just looking for replies like unimplemented, implemented, you can just override now. It should be very, very straightforward.
Yeah. I mean, I even wrote like half of one for a CI test to show it. So I mean, that takes a few seconds, but I just want to see how fast we want to get. So, but I'll take care of it. I'll have that ready probably by our Monday call.
Sweet.
And I'll show it to you guys first before I continue.
Okay, perfect.
We got a solid plan there then. And then the rest of these components are external. Technically, the code freeze doesn't apply to them, but we should be making good progress on them in parallel anyway. I think Jan's external attacher is good to go. I need to take a look at it because I haven't done so, just to make sure, sanity check it. It's Jan, so we don't expect any issues at all.
No. A question regarding attachment, and we talked about the was it attributes, read only, and what do you call it?
Linux.
And SE Linux. Yeah, that I'll take care of. But there was a question I think Jan had about how do the capability, the volume mount capability maps to the mount attributes, like the read-only many, and I mean read-only ones. read write once, read only many, etc.
And I have a code that tries to translate it somehow from Kubernetes to CSI, but there are some combinations that are not supported by CSI and are supported by Kubernetes.
So I saw the comment that you left, Jan, and then the comment that Saad left saying, why we just don't map it. And then I went back and looked at the documentation. It looks like the Kate's official documentation is saying that as far as specifying the attribute, it should be only one, and you should not be specifying more than one attribute.
Mm-hmm.
So so if you put read write once, it assumes that only one pod will write and everybody else can read. So you don't have to add read write many as an additional attribute.
I'm not sure that's right. At least not in Kubernetes.
Oh, okay.
In Kubernetes, only one can read and only one can write if there is read write once.
Correct. What I'm saying is in the comment, you had put that it'll be a combination of read write once and read write and read many. But I think the Kubernetes documentation is saying if you have read write once and you should only have read write once, it assumes that only one pod can write and everybody else. Only one pod can write and everybody else is allowed to read without having to add the additional attribute. Let me. I'll paste it in the what I'm talking about in the thing, because I saw it this morning and I thought to bring it up because that would make that mapping a little easier even.
To be honest, Kubernetes doesn't do anything to these access modes. It just enforces them during binding, but that's it. It's up to the user to make sure that he doesn't run too many pods or pods with too many writers.
So now I think I'm remembering this conversation. My question there was, why weren't we just using the access mode from the PVC?
PVC is array 2. It has array of access
it's an
mode.
array, yeah.
Because we could bind to multiple access modes?
Yeah.
Based on availability.
Example, you can have read write once and read only many on the same PVC, meaning that you create the data with one pod and then you process it with many pods in parallel as read only. I don't know if anybody uses that, but probably it's supported.
But I think the question I have is, when we're specifying the attributes, the access mode, I'm sorry, are we going to allow them to, obviously they can put more than one. Are we going to try to map to it like you're doing, Jan, or not?
We should do something because the API is there and it's there for a long time.
So I just pasted what the document says in the Kubernetes document, and it seems to be saying that you can only have one access mode.
Where is it?
Where did you paste that?
It's in the Slack, and I just copied it from. Sorry, I'm on like 2 computers.
That's okay. Let me see if I can pull up my Slack.
If I'm building and I can't have videos running.
By the way, my battery is dying, so if I leave, then
sorry. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that comment says that if you have an array in the access mode, then you can use only one mode at given time, but you can switch the modes.
Right. But it's one at a time.
Yeah, but we don't know which one. Kubernetes doesn't know which mode it is.
Right.
Okay.
So actually, when the volume is provisioned, the response should contain the access mode in the CSI create volume response, right? And so from that, we would construct a PV object. And so I imagine that the PV object constructed by CSI should only have one access mode in it. It's the case where you have pre-provisioned volumes where a user manually creates the PV object that they could potentially multiple access modes.
Okay.
So if you see only one access mode, then just use that. If you see multiple access modes, I think for attachment, we can just make the assumption in alpha that you're going to use the first one, and then we can revise that in the future.
Jan has a code that does the mapping, so I'll just.
Oh, okay.
I think the. Sorry, I get.
Yeah, so I can just use that.
Okay.
Because it does consider.
Just a time check, guys. I have another meeting in 1 minute.
Yes.
Okay, Luis, do you have anything that you wanted to discuss before you leave?
No, I think this is really good progress.
Okay.
Pretty excited.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I also have a hard stop at 1:30.
Okay.
So from my side, I'm working on the NFS plugin, so I should have the NFS plugin by Monday.
Cool.
Yep.
All right, thank you, Chakri.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
You too.
I may add something to the access modes. The volumes provisioned by CSI get access modes from Kubernetes because it's copied from the PVC to create request, to create volume request. So it comes from Kubernetes actually.
Right.
Oh, so the access mode is not determined by the provisioner on the PV.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of those we can figure out the rule just like the discovery, exactly how it'll work. For now, I can just use the way that Jan is doing the mapping, just in case there's a PV with multiple access modes specified.
So yeah, I think that's fine for now. And then for beta, we can come back and come up with a better solution, which might be something along the lines of having an annotation or something that says the CSI access mode is this, and then that can be used everywhere.
Okay. I think I'm more confused now.
Yeah, like the way I see it, the problem comes from the fact that CSI assumes that a volume has a single access mode type.
Right.
Very simple assumption. Kubernetes doesn't make that assumption because it didn't start with dynamic provisioning. It started with matching a pool of volumes to your claim. And so any given volume in that pool could potentially fulfill multiple different requests. So for example, you could have a volume which was a multi-writer volume, but just because it's multi-writer doesn't mean it cannot fulfill the single writer mode. And so as if a request came in for single writer and there was only one volume left which was multi-writer, then we wanted to make sure that those bound together.
Okay.
So the PV object allows specifying multiple access modes. I didn't realize that PVC also allowed specifying multiple access modes, but I guess the point there is that you could say, I don't know why did we have multiple access modes on PVC, Jan?
I don't know. It's there since forever.
Okay, so for some reason, we allowed that on the PVC object, which makes things tricky because now if you get a binding, it is uncertain what the actual real access mode for that volume is.
Okay.
This may be a bug in Kubernetes. Maybe PVC shouldn't have multiple access modes. Maybe it should just have a single access mode. But for now, we need to get something in, and then it sounds like Jan has a proposal which is doing a mapping. We can go with that for alpha. It may not be correct, but we can revisit it and fix it as needed.
Yep, that works for me.
Okay, just add it to the list of items for beta so we don't forget it.
Yep. I will.
All right. So
yeah.
That is that. Wamin is gone. Jean, do you happen to know the status of the external provisioner? Has it gotten any more progress? Is it in
Wamin is working on that.
Okay.
He's fighting with vendoring, actually.
Sorry?
The provisioner is there, except the actual CSI course.
Okay. Okay, so hopefully we'll get more progress on this soon. End-to-end documentation, I don't know if Luis has an update there. NFS, I think Shakri says he was almost ready, so I'm going to mark that as orange. I have not started working on the sidecar container. I'm hoping to do that today. And in the external community, there was a bug that I opened for defining the limit on the plugin name. Luckily, that was approved. And so now the plugin name in CSI spec is well defined, and it's no longer than 63 characters and basically this. So that should help us significantly.
Yep.
But we can also do validation on our side just in case, annotation and that kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, that's one of the to-dos. Cool.
And that's pretty much it. All right.
All right, guys.
All right, thanks a lot. And Vlad, feel free to ping me offline if you need anything.
Okay, I will.
All right, thanks, Sean. Take care.
All right, bye-bye.